Hey, what's up everybody? 3D Theory here. Today we're going to be covering a really cool topic that has been on my mind for quite some time. I wanted to cover the many different processes of 3D printing and the different kinds of machines and the different kinds of materials that we can 3D print with. Now here on the consumer grade level, we're very familiar with the FDM process, which uses plastic filament. And then we also are pretty familiar with SLA, which is the resin printers that give us that high detail. It's usually smaller in size, the things that we can print out. Not always, but most of the time. And there are several more after that. And what we have today is some samples of those 3D printing processes. And we're gonna cover those samples. We're gonna talk about the common uses for each one, the strength hierarchy, which one is weakest to strongest, and we'll go over that. The materials that they usually print with, as well as some features. I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is JLC PCB. They have another section of their company called JLC 3DP, which focuses specifically on 3D printing and CNCing, and you can go on their website and upload your files and select what 3D printing process you'd like to go with. And once they're done, they'll ship it over to you. And if you guys are interested in checking out their site, there's an affiliate link in the description below where I get a small commission for whoever uses that link. We'll be going over how to upload the files later on in this video, but for now, let's get this unboxed. So basically, I couldn't wait, so I already unboxed it. They send it to you in a nice, clean packaging like this, and inside they have a very professional looking box here, and they wrap it up in bubble wrap. And I already have opened them all because I was too excited. I couldn't wait. But I'm gonna get this all laid out on the table for you guys to see. All right guys, so I got everything laid out over here, and I wanna go over all the different types of processes. So over here, these first two actually are printed on my machines. And because I already have samples of these, I didn't go ahead and order it from JLC 3DP because I already have samples here myself. This, as you know, if you guys are following my channel, is the wolf from Puss in Boots. And this is done on the Hallet 1 3D printer from Creality. And this is a resin 3D printer, and the category is called SLA, which is stereolithography. And the common uses for this is for high detailed models, jewelry, dental applications, and this is the weakest of all the processes over here. So this produces parts with lower strength and is more brittle. And remember that this is in order from weakest to strongest processes in terms of parts production. And this is a photopolymer resin, and it offers high detail and smooth finishes, but requires careful handling because it's so brittle. But nonetheless, you can see how smooth it is. There was no post-processing done to this, and you get high levels of detail, great for miniatures as well. The second on our list is probably the one that you're most familiar with, and the one we cover here the most on the channel, which is FDM 3D printing, which is fused deposition modeling. And the common uses are for rapid prototyping. It's great for hobbyist projects and educational models. But not only this, I feel like FDM's making a really strong presence in final products as well, due to some of the higher grade 3D printers that we're able to get as a consumer. So this is the second on the strength hierarchy. It has moderate strength, suitable for non-load bearing parts. It also depends on what orientation you print, as well as the types of materials you use. We got thermoplastic filaments like ABS, PLA, PETG printed out. And usually people are printing with PLA or PETG, and some of the stronger filaments that you could work with are ASA and ABS and so on. There's also TPU, which is like a soft rubber that you could print with FDM as well. FDM printing is easily accessible and versatile. It's good for initial prototyping, but as mentioned, you would have to kind of fine tune your settings to get it to work in a strong way. Because of the nature of how it prints, it's laying down little strings of filament, kind of like a glue gun in layers. So depending on which way you orient it, it'll give you stronger or weaker parts. Now this next part on the list, and you guys are probably familiar with these as well. This is my 3D Theory keychain, as well as my 3D Theory cup holder without the top part there. But let's go over to this one. This one is probably one of the things I was most excited about, second only to the last one there I'll show you. This one I had never even heard of until I went on to JLC 3DP's website. This is called WJP 3D printing, and it's white jet process. And man, this is super cool. It's basically a resin 3D printer like the SLA, but a lot stronger, and you can get full color out of it. And look at how smooth this finish is. This looks like an injection molded product. It's so clean. It's so smooth. There are no layer lines whatsoever. And so this is usually used for medical 3D printing, cultural relics research, and creative design. And this is the third in the hierarchy of strength, which offers detailed and realistic full color multi-material prints with extremely high level of detail. And this material, it's like an ABS style strength resin. So this thing is super strong, even surpassing the FDM over here. This combines high resolution digital imaging with material deposition for detailed color and structure precision. It's ideal for applications requiring detailed visual reproduction. And that's just a fancy way of saying it's super good at capturing high details. And I only went with my keychain as a small sample, but it's full color. You can print it out in whatever color you'd like. Next up, we have two samples here. We have an uncolored version and a colored version. And this is called MJF 3D Printing Multi-Jet Fusion. And this is by HP. I think this is particularly an HP 3D printer. And its common uses are high volume production, complex end use parts. This is the fourth on the strength hierarchy. It has high strength, superior in producing durable, detailed, and dimensionally accurate parts. The materials that's used are nylon, polypropylene, and TPU, which is a flexible material. You could find those using the multi-jet fusion, but JLC 3DP offers the nylon here, which was what we have as our samples. And it uses fine-grained materials to produce high-density parts that are optimal for functional use and mechanical application. And I wanted to get two examples of this, one in full color, which it offers, which I find to be amazing, and also without it being colored. I really like the texture of this, and I really wanted to get my hands on it and feel this slightly grainy texture, but it's still very smooth, and you could tell it's really strong. And then you have the colored version. And you can see here, compared to the WJP, the color differences. This one looks to be a little bit more vibrant, while this one is a little bit more of a matte finish. And the next on our list is the SLS, and this stands for Selective Laser Sintering. And the common uses for this are functional parts, complex geometries, high temperature applications, and I really like the way this thing feels. Let's get in there for some details. Looks like there is some light layer lines going on, and like the MJF, this has a little bit of a grainy texture, but it's still very smooth. This is the fifth on the strength hierarchy, meaning it's getting stronger and stronger as we go down the line here. And it's high strength, best for load bearing and functional parts. And the materials that are used are nylon powder, glass-filled polyamide, and metals. Although I've only seen it in nylon, and that's what JLC 3DP offers. This is in nylon over here. And this produces durable parts without the need for support structures. Excellent for complex assemblies and high temperature resistance. And you could feel it. This thing is really strong and has a real nice texture to it and a real nice feel to your hands. And last, but definitely not least, and the one I was most excited about, is the Selective Laser Melting, also known as SLM, which is done in metal. This is metal 3D printing. This is so cool. And I wanted to try out a few ideas with this here. This was supposed to be a bracelet, but as I went on and worked with JLC 3DP, I had to adjust the model so that it can clear tolerances as well as be strong enough so it doesn't break. And so it came out a little larger than I was hoping it would, but man, does that look really cool. I love that. And this is usually used for aerospace, automotive, or medical implants, which I find to be super amazing. They create structures that are kind of hollowed out like this so that bone structures can integrate with them. So medical implants are really strong in this area. This is the highest strength on our strength hierarchy over here. It's very high strength and produces dense and strong metallic parts. The materials that can be used are metals like titanium, stainless steel, and aluminum. And the one that JLC 3DP offers is stainless steel, like you see here. This is a stainless steel part, and it utilizes a full melt process for the highest density and mechanical properties, ideal for critical and structural components in demanding industries like aerospace and automotive and medical implants. And what I did over here is I created a bracelet that is a print in place. I wanted to test its print in place features. So this was not assembled, this was just printed as is. And inside I have my 3D Theory logo mirrored. And if you just look at this, this is solid metal. It is super amazing. And I was always so interested in metal 3D printing. And finally, I found a company where you can get your hands on it very easily. And again, as mentioned, this was supposed to be a bracelet where you can then just use kind of a little clip to clip that in place. And this came out super clean, really well. And the only thing where I kind of overlooked was the support structures that'll still be inside. So some of them you can see the logos inside. I wanted to try out the hollowed features, see if it can handle some hollowed stuff, and it can, but there is some support structure in there. Now the great thing about JLC 3DP is that they let you know about these sorts of things that are happening. So while I was working with them, they mentioned to me that, hey, the support structures are gonna stay in there. Is this something you wanna move forward with, or you wanna adjust the model? And they're very easy to work with. They let you know exactly what these processes can and can't do and give you the opportunity to re-upload the file if you want to iterate upon them and basically fix the issues that might come up during the printing process. And you can just hear it. It's solid stainless steel metal. I'm so amazed by it. You got the smooth part here, and then I think it might have been printed standing up like this, because that's where you have the support structures going up and down. And then on the other side, you have a little bit of texture going on. I don't know which one was laying down flat. This part might have been laying down on the print bed, if I'm not mistaken. But look at that. That is just super cool. It functions, it's strong, and this is the SLM metal 3D printing. You guys can get your hands on a metal 3D printed part. As mentioned before, all these are offered on JLC 3DP. We got the resin, we got the FDM, we got the WJP, which is another resin, but extremely strong. We got the multi-jet fusion, which is the MJF, which prints out in nylon, as well as SLS, which is also nylon, and then the stainless steel metal 3D printing that's available all on JLC 3DP. There are different types of strengths you can get for some of them, and we'll hop in the computer and I'll show you how to upload a file and how to choose out the processes and different materials you want to be using. It's real easy, and I was intimidated by it until I went in and saw how easy it was. So let's hop in the computer and I'll show you how it's done. All right, guys, you can click on the link in the description below, and also you could just hop into Google and type in JLC 3DP and go ahead and just click on their website. And once here, you want to just sign in, and if you don't have an account, make sure to create an account. All right, guys, and once you're in, just scroll down and create quote now, and you have 3D printing, CNC machining, mechatronic parts, and PCB, PCBA. But we're going to do 3D printing over here. You just drag and drop your file into this area over here, and it starts generating for you. And in no time, you have some options over here. You got the SLA resin, MJF nylon, SLM, FDM plastic, SLS nylon, and WJP resin. And what I love about this is as you hover over the material, it tells you full color resin. It gives you a little background on the types of projects you can use it for and some of the properties. And that goes for all of them. So if you go to metal over here, you could hover over it, and it tells you about the material over here. And likewise, let's say you want to do some SLS. You got nylon over here, and then you have a stronger nylon over here. So it gives you a good idea of what you're going to be using it for. Choose the color, how long it's going to take, and product description. For this, I put toy and entertainment, toys and parts, and you can add some sort of comment here if you want, and you can see the price. This is just for the keychain over here. You save it to cart, then you jump over to view cart. Then you can simply just click on the part that you want, secure the checkout, make sure your shipping address is put in, you continue, choose a shipping method. They have several to see which one you would like to do, whether you want to get it faster or a little bit delayed. And the shipping estimates are pretty decent. And you continue, and what happens is it goes through a review before you pay. So you submit the order, and then it goes through a review process where you might get some emails back saying, hey, you know, this is ready to go, or hey, there's a little change you could make to improve the process, and then it arrives at your door within a week or so. And some of them say about 2 to 4 business days. So yeah, mine came really fast after ordering. So as you can see, it's real simple, real easy, and you can get any one of those processes in no time. All right, guys, that about covers all the different processes you can get from JLC 3DP. Again, if you're interested, there's an affiliate link in the description below. They seem to be having sales pretty often or discounted prices pretty often. So go ahead and check them out if you're interested. Until next time, peace, love, and joy.